Very good morning to one and all dear students. How are you all? That's good. The same question I'm asking, right? That is what we can do, what to do, right? Okay, so how many of you reading your text at least once in a week? Not in a daily basis, okay? At least once in a week. How many of you reading computer text? Just tell me. Really? I feel it's very less number of students only reading your text. Okay, students, your assessments are nearing, so try to read your text, okay, as much as possible. Then only you will have a touch with your subject. Okay, all right. So let's move on to today's portion. So, what chapter we are studying now? Who remember the chapter name? Do you remember? Yes. What is the chapter name? That's good. It's we are studying about Python. Okay. So, what is Python? Is it a snake? Oh my God, no, right? Okay, then what is Python? That's good. Python is a high level programming language. Python is a high level programming language. So HLL means high level programming language. Okay, you know who created this Python programming language? Last week I have shown his picture also, right? And the logo also I have shown in the video. Yes, who created Python? That's good. It is Guido van Rossum. Okay. So who created? It is created by Guido van Rossum. He is a person who created this Python. Okay. So then who are all using this Python? The Python, it can be used by many people are using it, right? So like a web application, to create a web application, software development and connecting databases, 3D animations, games, everything, artificial intelligence, that making robot, each and every field started using this Python. That's the reason you have got this new chapter included with your computer. Okay, so when a new product comes, you people also should be familiar with the technology. So that's the reason new chapter Python is we are teaching now. Okay, all right. So that Python, it can be used in many fields, as I said. Then right now what you are using, that Google for search engine, the Google and YouTube, they are also powered by this Python. So you can understand the importance of Python. Fine, students. So we are discussing what we studied last week. Okay, it's just a recap of what we studied. I know how much of things you recollect. That's the reason I'm giving a small recap. Okay, fine. So then, as I said, Python, it's a high-level programming language. High-level programming language, and it is an open source software, which is an open source software. So in short, I write it as OSS. OSS means open source software. Okay, fine. Then Python can be created in two methods. I mean two modes. So do you remember what are the two modes of Python? Yes. What are they? That's good. Interactive mode and script mode. Okay. So we studied about modes of Python. So one is interactive mode. Interactive mode. Another one is script mode. Another one is script mode. Then what is the difference between these two modes? Interactive modes means it's a single line comments. We give it with the help of command prompt, Python command prompt. Okay, so after the first single line command, press enter key, you will get the output. Okay, but here in a script mode, you will be writing program with multiple lines. Okay, so for writing programs with the multiple lines, we have to use the script mode. Interactive, it's only for the beginners. Okay, to learn how to do. Got it? Okay, fine. Then we studied about introduction to Python. Okay, how does a Python programs should look like? That means what are the things contains in the Python program? That is basics of Python, right? So in the first basics, we studied about character set of Python. Okay. So character set we studied. So what is mean by character set? As I said, character means it's a single letter, single alphabet. It's called character. And this Python has characters such as capital A to Z, lowercase a to Z, numerals 0 to 9, and some special characters. These are all together called character set. Okay, so let me write it here. Character set consists of A to Z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9, and special characters like a plus, minus, hash, dollar, many all the other special symbols are there, special characters are there. So these all are together called as character set in Python. Okay, then we studied about tokens. Okay, so do you know what is mean by tokens? Tokens are smallest unit in a Python programming. So smallest unit. See, while writing the program, we say the word input. Okay, we say the word print. So each and every word, whatever we are using, it's called tokens. It's called tokens. And these tokens are of different types. We studied 4 types. Okay, so what are the types of tokens? Do you remember? So, just to give me a clue, if I want to add 2 numbers, do I need to give the numbers directly or how to give? Yes, we are not supposed to give the numbers directly. Instead, we have to give the numbers with the help of variables. Okay, so we have to give it with the help of variables. So variable, it's a type of token. Okay, so let me write it here. Tokens, as I said, it's the smallest unit in the Python programming. Okay, it's the smallest unit. So which is sort of 4 types. So let me write the first type as identifiers or variables. This is the first type of token. So we can call it as either identifier or variable. So variable in the sense, if I want to add 2 numbers, I'm not supposed to take the numbers as 10 and 5. Okay, I'm not supposed to take it granted. Instead of taking the number directly, I have to take the number with the help of a variable. Okay, and we already studied the rules to name a variable. The variable name should start with a letter or an underscore, and it should not start with the numeric numbers. Okay, it can be a alphanumeric, means letters and then numbers, but not number and then letter. Okay, so example, number 1 is equal to 50, num2 is equal to 10. Okay, then when we add these two, the answer we are getting right, that also should go to a variable. So we can take another variable for sum of 2 numbers. So that is, we can take it as sum. Okay, so something like that. Okay, now 1 is equal to 50, num2 is equal to 10, sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Got it? So this is the way we take it. So here num1, num2, sum. These are all called variable names. These are all called variables. So variables, you can take any variable as you like, but you have to follow the certain rules which I explained. Okay, and it should not be a reserved word also. Got it? Okay. Then the second type, first type identifier or variables. The second type, it's called reserved words or keywords. Okay. The second one, it's called reserved words or keywords. So reserved means some words in Python, they are reserved, okay, by the Python library. We are not supposed to use it as a variable over here. Okay, we are not supposed to take it granted. Okay, so for example, if the word if, what, while, for, these are all taken by the Python library. Okay, So we cannot take those variables as those words as a variables here. Okay, so that is called reserved words or keywords. Then third type, it's called literals. Third one we studied about literals. Literals are of five types. Do you remember? Literals are of five types. One is character or a string literal. Character means single character, only one. Okay. Then string means group of characters. It's called string. Then numerals. Numeral means numbers. The number can be integer, whole number, or decimal number. Okay, that is we call it as a float, or complex numbers that may contain the letter e or something. Okay, complex numbers. So these are all the numbers we can use it. Okay, so this literal, it's are of five types. Okay, so one is character or string. Second one, yes, numerals. Then third one, boolean. Third one, it's called Boolean, which gives yes or no type of answers. So for yes or no type, we use Boolean literals. Okay. Then fourth one, dict. We did not study in detail about dict. Okay. So these are the types of literals. Okay. Then fourth type of token we study, that is operators. So operators means, see here you can see num1 plus num2, which is the operator? Plus is the operator. So likewise, the operators are divided into four categories. Okay. The first one, arithmetic operators, means addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, how to get a remainder, how to get a quotient, how to get an exponent. 2 to the power 2 is equal to 4. 2 into 2. 2 to the power 3. That means 2 into 2 into 2 is equal to 8. So exponents, they all comes under normal arithmetic operators. Then comparison, how to compare the numbers. Okay, so which is greater, which is lesser. So comparison means greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to. They will comes under comparison operators. Okay, then next one is assignment operators. Okay, so assignment only, it's a new thing for you. Assignment operators, they are writing in a short form. They are writing it in a short form. Let me give you an example. Okay, see here, a is equal to a plus b. This can be written in short with the help of assignment operators. So how is it so? A plus is equal to B. So these two are equal. These two are equal. This is an expanded form. A is equal to A plus B. Then here A plus is equal to B. That means A is added with A and B. A is added with B and gives the result as A. Is it clear for everyone? Okay, it's the same thing you can apply for subtraction, multiplication, division and everything. Got it, students? So then last type, it's a logical operators, that is logical and, logical or, logical not. To combine multiple operators, we use this conditions, we use logical operators. Is it clear? So this is what we have seen in the last two video classes about introduction to Python. Okay, so today we are going to start with how to write programs. Got it? Okay, let's move on to writing programs. Students, we are going to study how to write Python programs. Okay, so before starting the programs, I would like to say where to write the program. For HTML, you have taken a notepad and you just write the HTML program and saved it with the .html extension, right? Similarly, for Python, we need Python idle, IDLE, Python idle. So it's a free software. Okay. Those who have a computer in your home, please go to python.org. Okay, go to python.org, and there you will see our web page, Python web page. Okay, and you can see many tabs. So the second tab, it's downloads. Second tab, it's called downloads. Click on this downloads, okay, and which will show you the latest version of Python 3.8.5. Just click on it, it will download. Okay, it will be downloaded within a few seconds. It will be downloaded. It won't take much time. Okay, so within 5 to 10 minutes it will be downloaded, and after downloading, go to search box in the computer and type Python. Then you can see Python IDLE in the matches. Python IDLE. Click here, open the Python editor will open. Python editor. So here you can write your Python program, and after writing the Python program, you should save the program. Okay. As we did it with HTML, .html, this Python programs should be saved with .py extension. Okay. So file name .py. This name you can give any name as you like, okay? But .py, it's very important. Then only the file will be identified as a Python program. So you have to save it with the first name. You can give any name as you like. Then .py. Got it? And once after you save the file, then you have to go to run module. You have to go to the tab called run and then run module. Okay. So after saving, go to run module. So if you go to run module, which will run the program and show the output in the Python shell. You can see the output in the Python shell. Got it? Okay. So one more time I'm repeating. Those who have a computer in your home, please go to python.org, then go to downloads and take Python 3.8.5, download it, and after downloading, go to search box and type Python. The Python IDLE appears. Click there, then idle will open, that Python editor will open. You can just type your program. After typing, save it with .py, then go to run tab, then run module. Then which will display the output in the Python shell. Got it? Okay, so this is a way we have to go to the Python. Okay, now let's see how to write Python program. See, while writing program, okay, so we may write n number of programs in Python. Okay, today you may write 2 or 3 programs, tomorrow again you may write. So once you started doing a programs, you will write n number of programs with Python. Okay, so when you open the Python program, how do you understand what is this program? Program it's intended for? Okay, it's a lengthy program. Immediately, how will you identify this program? It's written for what purpose? Is it possible to identify? Yes, it is possible, but you have to go through the program codings. Then only you can say, okay, this is a coding, so this program is intended for addition or subtraction or multiplication or anything, right? But instead of that, what you can do is, before writing the program, you can start with a command line. So comment in the sense, you're giving some comment about the program. What is the name of the program or anything you can give. Okay, so when you open the program, file open, if you see the first line, the command line will say what is the program related to. Then it will be easy for us to understand. So we can use a command line. Now I'll tell you how to write commands in Python. Okay. In order to write comments, single line comments, you have to use hash. Write hash symbol, okay, the keyboard hash is there. Just to type the symbol, okay. Then after that, write something that will be considered as a command line that will not be executed. Okay, so the line which you are writing with a hash symbol will be considered as a command line that won't be executed by the Python interpreter. Okay, so you can say this is my first program. This is my first program. So any sentence you can write, it is a command line. So command will not be executed by the Python interpreter. Okay. So you can write a single line comment or a double line comment, multi-line comments with double quotes. With double quotes you can write it. Okay. So this is all about the command line. The second thing is you should know when you study about a particular programming language, you should know about input and output. How to give an input and how to show the output. So input in the sense we used to get the input from the user. Okay, output we display it to the user. Okay, so that is called input and output. Say for example, when you go to a shop, okay, so what do you say? Whatever you want to buy, you say, please give me, you will just tell the name of the product, right? Just give me 2 kgs of rice. You are giving the input to the shopkeeper. So what is the shopkeeper it's giving to you? He's giving the product, right? So that is the output. That is the output. So if you want to add 2 numbers, you should ask the users, tell me 2 numbers. They will tell the 2 numbers. Okay. Then after getting the 2 numbers, you have to add it by yourself and give the result to the user. That is called input, getting input and displaying output. Okay. So the first thing is I'll tell you about output. Okay. How to write the output function. For output, you have to use the reserved word called print. Okay. So print. Print open bracket and close bracket. So what comes inside the open bracket and close bracket? Okay. So you can write anything within double quotation. If you write it in double quotation, that will be displayed as it is. Okay. So you can example. This is syntax. Okay. Example. Print. Hello world. So I have written with double quotation, print hello world. So what is the output? I get it on the screen. On the screen, you would see output as hello world. Whatever we have written inside the print statement will be printed as it is if they are in a double quotation. If they are in a double quotation. Okay. And if you want to display some values, if you want to display some values, let me write it here. Example 2, you say that you are writing a program a is equal to 5. Okay. Then you say print a. Print a. That means you will get a 5. You will get 5 as the answer. So the output is 5. You will get output as 5 because this a denotes 5 because we already given a value for a as 5. Got it? So this is the way the output statement works. Output function, it's called print, open bracket, close bracket. Inside the bracket, it differs, depends upon the program. Now I'm teaching you very simple things only. Okay, we are not going into deep. While writing the program, I'll teach you some more concepts, what to write in the bracket. Okay, then you will understand. Got it? So this is the output function. Okay, then next one is input function. So what is mean by input? As I said, when you go to a shop, the shopkeeper is asking you what do you want. So the first is shopkeeper is asking you what do you want. So the same thing, you should ask your user, tell me if you want to add 2 numbers, you have to say tell 2 numbers. Okay, so the user will give a 2 number to you and you have to add the numbers and you have to give the result to the user. Okay, so sometimes we may need to get inputs from user and display the output to the on the main screen, output screen. Okay, so the input function is very important in each and every program because here you can see that I have taken the value of a is equal to 5. Okay, and I can take the value of b is equal to 10. Okay, Then sum of two numbers are 10 plus 5, 15, right? So directly I have given a number, but it should not be the case in programming. We cannot give numbers as I granted, okay? So it depends upon the person. If I'm writing a program with A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 10, what is the use of that program? Okay, it's always going to give the answer 10 plus 5, 15, right? If it's a program, it has to give a result according to the inputs given by the user. It should not be a fixed value. Then it is not a program. We cannot consider it as a program. It's useful for others. It cannot be useful for others. Okay, so always we should get, okay, input from the user, input from the user. So in order to get the input, we have to use the input function. Okay, let me write the input function here. Let's see the syntax for writing input function. Okay, so for input function, syntax is input, open bracket, close bracket. So inside you can write anything that we will discuss while writing the program. Okay, so input is the input, open bracket, close bracket is the syntax for getting the input. Okay, so if I want to add two numbers, what I need to ask the user, give me the first number, please give me the first number, or enter the first number, then enter the second number, right? So how to get it is, example. Okay. So as I said, whenever you get a number, that should be stored with a variable name. That should be stored with a variable name. We are not supposed to take take a number without any variable name. We have to take it with the help of variable name so that it will go and occupy in the computer's memory. Okay, it will take a memory location, and whenever we refer that particular variable, that particular value will be recalled. Okay, so example is A. I have taken a variable name as A is equal to input, open bracket, in double quotation, enter the first number. Enter the first number. Make sure that it should be in double quotation, okay? Enter the first number. I'm just closing it. So when the user sees the word, whatever it's double quotation, that will be displayed as it is, right? So enter the first number. When the user sees this command, he will write some number. He will type some number, okay? Then after typing the number, that number should be displayed on the screen. So to display it on the screen, which function we have to use? Yes, we have to use output function. So print A. So once after the user enters a number, the screen will display number 5. So this is the input and this is the output. There are different ways we can write it, what is inside here and here in this brackets, that I'll explain while writing programs. Got it, students? That's good. So you know the arithmetic operators, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication. So using those operators, we are going to write simple programs. We are going to start with simple programs. Okay. So let's move on to practical session and do the practical programming words.
Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can download and install Python on your Windows 10 operating system. So first of all, open your favorite browser and search for Python. And the first link which will appear here will be from python.org. So we are going to click on this link. And once this website is open, you will just scroll down a little and you will see this downloads section here. Now at the time of making this video, Python 3.7.4 is the latest version of Python available. So we are going to click on this Python 3.7.4, and then when you scroll down here, you will see the files section here. And what we are interested in is this Windows section, and we are going to download the Windows x86 64-bit executable installer. So this is what we want. So we are going to just click on this link which says Windows x86 64 executable installer, and it's around 25 megabyte file, so it will take few seconds to download. And once this executable file is downloaded, I'm going to just click on this executable file and minimize the browser. And now you can see this first window here. I'm going to just say run, and now you can see this installation wizard is open. So by default, Python is installed on this path on your Windows operating system. But what I would like to do is I like to install my Python in my C directory so I can easily access that directory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this second option which says customize installation. Okay, so before choosing this customize installation, you can also check this checkbox which says add Python 3.7 to path. This is going to add this Python installation to your path variables. And now we are going to just click on customize installation, and we will leave everything as default and then click on next. And here is what we want to change in the location. So instead of giving this path for the installation directory, we are going to just create a new directory Python in the C directory, and then we are going to install Python 3.7 inside that directory. So this will be the path where I'm going to install my Python. So I'm going to just create quickly this directory into my C drive. So I'm going to just go to my PC and then into my C drive, and you can see there is no Python directory there. So I'm going to create a Python directory here. So folder, and the name of the folder will be Python. Okay, so this is what I have created. So now this Python will be installed in this directory on my Windows operating system. So now I'm going to just click on install and then click on yes, which is going to start the Python installation. So it's not going to take a long time. It will be a very quick process to install Python on your Windows operating system. And now you can see this setup was successful. So Python is installed on our Windows operating system. So we are going to close this window and check whether it's installed successfully and working fine or not. So I'm going to just click on this Windows icon here, and then I'm going to just click on all apps, and you will see on the recently added section this Python docs first of all, and then you will see the Python idle IDE which you can use to develop your Python projects. And also you will see this Python 3.7 manual, and you will see this Python command line prompt. Okay, so first of all we are going to open this idle IDE. Just click on idle, which is going to open this idle IDE, and you can see this idle IDE is open. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to configure this idle, and I'm going to make these fonts little bit bigger. So I'm going to just say that I want 16 font size, and then I'm going to just say apply and then click OK. So now you can see this font size is little bit bigger, so you can see it easily. And I'm going to just print hello world here. So here I'm going to just write hello world and then press enter, which is going to print hello world. This means idle is working fine, and you can just start using this idle IDE to develop your Python script.